Everybody, I just want to say thank you so much for being here today on our encore live webinar, Insider Secrets from a Top Motivational Speaking Agent. I'm here with Karie Millspaugh. Karie, thanks so much for being here with me today on this encore. Boy, we had a lot of questions last night, a ton of energy, and I'm glad we're doing it again.
Yes, me too. Me too. Like I said, I could do this in my sleep.
So, you have just this really incredible background where you were in the corporate speaking world, and then one thing led to another, like it does in all of the lives of us female entrepreneurs. And now you are an agent. You've got all these speakers that you represent. Share with us your journey, your story.
It's kind of funny. All good things kind of happen with you if you're open to being in flow. If you're very rigid in your journey as an entrepreneur, you're just cutting off all kinds of great opportunities. Sometimes we question things and you don't know what the next step looks like. And I'm a perfect example of that. I just follow the flow. What happened was about a year ago, a friend of mine and I were talking about my past life as a publicist. I worked for a global business coaching company. It's in 75 countries. It is the world's largest business coaching firm out there. But I was a publicist for the founder. I managed his 52-city tour. I would book him for talks that ranged around 25,000 and higher. We would bring people onto our own conferences, like Les Brown. People know Darren Hardy, the founder of Success Magazine, T. Harv Eker, Jeffrey Gitomer, Stedman Graham, just these big, wonderful names. I'm just Karie, doing my job and not even I'm not starstruck yet until I choose to jump into my business full time back in 2014. And I look back and go, wow, that was kind of cool and exciting. How can I bring this to what I do now? And then I'm in a different circle of entrepreneurs that have always been entrepreneurs that have no idea what the oxygen is like in that reality that I lived for years. And they want to get on those stages, but it's like a pipe dream to them. And Kristen talks about the Cinderella story. It's so like that.
Right.
And it is, if you don't know how to get there. I thought, well, gosh, I used to live in that world, and there's all this amazing talent over here that are doing speak to sell or pay to speak, which happens, or speaking for free. I'm like, hello, there's this category over here. Why aren't you tapping into this? Show up, get paid, leave. How much cooler is that? You don't have to fill the seats. You don't have to do anything.
Those corporate speaking gigs, they're plum, because not only do you get paid for showing up, but you can get paid for a breakout session. You can get paid for all kinds of other things. So, like you said, they're covering your airfare, your hotel rooms, and you have oftentimes an audience of 300, 500, 1,500 people. Really getting those kinds of audiences in the author, speaker, coach, this transformational genre that many of us are in, those sizes of audiences don't exist like they exist in the corporate world. So if you want to impact more lives, part of your speaking plan needs to be corporate stages.
Yes, absolutely. It's not a pipe dream. It's a normal reality. I'm booking people for these talks every day. I lived in this world. It's not a fantasy. That's what I want to bring hope to everyone out there that's like, how do I get that? It takes hard work, dedication, and obviously getting your ducks in a row. We're going to talk about that today. I get so many people that come to me and apply for an agency, and they just don't have what it takes. They don't have the tools in place that I can't go sell you without these tools. I have a long checklist, and I feel bad sending it to people that apply. You must have this, this, and this before we can even consider taking you on board. And it's almost like I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I can't sell you without these tools. No one's going to just say, oh, well, Karie said, even though we have no proof, Karie said they're the best ever, and go for it. You're not going to get, that role in a play. You're not going to get the skit on television without an audition or a video or some type of profile that backs you up. Same with speaking. So Kristen has been this beautiful, perfect puzzle piece to what I do, where I'm like, you need a speaking reel. You need this kind of marketing. I cannot book you. And don't be disheartened. Even I've talked to bureaus that are like, Karie, you need a reel. And I guess what? I stopped for 2 years in the speaking world, just stopped there. I didn't know where to go next or how to make that happen. I don't want our audience to be in that same space, that dead space of limbo. I want to do this so bad, but I need a bridge. Someone help me get there, and that's where Kristen really, truly creates this puzzle piece that fits perfectly into what I do.
I think that I meet so many speakers, and especially authors and coaches, who know that they need to be a speaker so that they can get the visibility that they need to fill their programs, have people sign up for their retreats, enroll in their e-courses, and speaking is the key that does that. But it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, how do you get invited on a stage if you don't have the proof that you're good on stage, right? So we need to, we may know in our hearts, gosh, I know I could do that. I know that I would be an incredible speaker. I have such a strong message. I'm so passionate. I've written, 1, 2, maybe even 3 incredible books. But if you don't actually step on the stage, and here's the challenge, if you're waiting for other people to invite you to their stage, there's no guarantee that they're going to create good video for you. Let's talk about the reality. A lot of times it's one camera, back of the room, bad sound, no audience shots. So you might as well have been, shooting this in your living room. And I think that trying to solve this piece is such a challenge. And, for those of you who, I'll just stop for a minute, those of you who don't know very much about me and my background, my whole background is production, so I worked in TV news for 15 years. I was an anchor and a reporter at several local affiliates, St. Louis, West Palm Beach, Florida, Arizona. So my background is in media. And then I've gone on and created a TV show called Mandala that's on Amazon Prime. We shot a documentary film in Peru about the shamans of the high Andes in Peru. So I have a lot of background in video production. And so when my clients kept coming to me and saying, Kristen, you know what? I know I need to do speaking. I work with hundreds and hundreds of authors every year. They know they need to do speaking, or they're not going to get readers for their books or people to sign up in their online programs. And they're like, no one will book me without a speaker's video. And I thought, well, I know how to do all kinds of other production. I have an incredible camera crew in Las Vegas. The guy that I work with is named Michael Sue. He's done video production for Cher, Pink, George Clooney's movies. He is just front and center with the latest and greatest, most incredible cameras, 4K. I said, hey, can we put something together for these motivational speakers? This is a real problem out there. People want to get booked. They need agents like Karie to represent them. But the gate, the door, the passageway, and the key is all the speaker's video. Yeah. And I think that that is just such an important piece of it. So, Karie, but when we're talking about the video, so many people are watching this Facebook Live, this webinar. What's the topic? Because we may be able to get up and talk, do an 18-minute TED Talk or a 90-minute presentation, but what are the hot topics right now for corporate meeting planners to say, hey, I need that person on my stage?
Corporate is different. It is a different vibe and feel. I'm a very spiritual person, so even I have to tiptoe around certain things to get booked on stages. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for team development. They're looking for sales. If you're a top performer or producer, you have a gift inside of you to talk about. They're looking for that. Empowerment, emotional intelligence. I have a great speaker in my client list that speaks on just emotional intelligence. Corporations are looking for that now. The mindset piece. They're being more open than they were before. So the sky's the limit. You'd be surprised. We can spin your talk just about any way to get you on a corporate stage.
I know a lot of people in my audience, we work with people in personal development, so health, wellness, spirituality. Yeah. What about those topics? I know in TV news, those were considered the soft topics. They're not breaking news. And people were like, oh, those are not going to get booked. It's not the house fire, heartache, and homicide.
Yes.
And so what about people who come on with soft topics? One of the most watched TED Talks of all time was Brene Brown, just about vulnerability,
Yes.
And I saw a speaker the other day, and her whole talk was about having hope to pull you through in your business. Can you tell us a little bit about, if you have this more spiritual or inspirational topic, is there a place for that?
Absolutely. We talked about this before too. I'm a big Gabby Bernstein fan. She is a spirit junkie. She's on stages all over the world. If you follow her work and her books, she was booked at Home Depot at a corporate event. I never would even thought someone like her would be on a stage like that. Of course, I see her in churches in London and everywhere else too, but she's kind of been enough where she's opened up her brand enough where they're going to want to take that person. She's got great books out there. You have to also keep in mind that who wouldn't want a speaker to speak to their employees about work-life balance or something of that nature too, because your employee is going to show up 100% every day if they have these tools in place, which is going to make you more money in the long run. That's an employee worth keeping. So they're going to, build their employees up. Think of the same tools us entrepreneurs go after. It's the same thing employers are looking for too, to keep their employees going at 100 miles an hour and producing at the rates that they are too. We all need these tools. A smart employer would hire those type of people.
And I think that when you are putting together your talk, what about the title? Is the title important? And how do we pick, this topic? A lot of us have an expertise in a vast continuum of our topic. What's the hook, or how do we pinpoint, that catchy title that's on trend for meeting planners and really, even TED Talks today?
Yeah. I hate fluffy marketing. Being an online marketing coach as well, if it's so esoteric and no one knows what you do, you're probably not going to get booked. And you want to be crystal clear. Keep it simple, stupid method, where we know what we're hiring you for. I think I just brought on a speaker. I think she goes by Brain Lady Speaker or something of that nature. And it's just super simple. That's her website domain even. So we know she's speaking of brain science and how we adapt to things, how we view life, team development. Super simple and clean. They know what they're getting when they book you. Just don't add too much fluff. Us, especially as females, we really like to put a lot of fluff in there and make it sparkly and pretty with fairies and godmothers. But it's not about that, especially in the corporate world. Think very black and white. Very structured.
And I think you have to think along the lines of branding. So I love that she's the brain lady. That's so simple. It's really obvious. Brain science is a very hot topic. Yeah. And I think that, okay, we're going to book the brain lady. And I could see that going down in a corporate meeting. Who do you want to have? Oh, let's just have the brain lady. So I think that, this is a strategy they used to teach in news. If you can make a caricature of an aspect of yourself, you will actually be more successful. So, don't be afraid to take on that larger than life or whimsical or just catchy niche about, who you are and what you talk about, because it will make you memorable. And I think that's also important. Let's talk about how far out people book for corporate speaking events. I mean, is this something where you show up in February and you're on a stage in May, or is this a much longer range perspective?
I had a wonderful speaker come to me last fall. We just signed up, and it was literally 1 month into his 14th or 15th book that he was publishing. He's like, do you think you can get me any events in time for that? Thinking, a month from now? Are you out of your mind? We can hope for a miracle. If someone cancels, I might get a phone call. But ironically, it's really is something that they have to project out. Again, go into the meeting planner's mindset. They have a budget every year. They do this event every year that's annually or quarterly. They know they're going to need 10 speakers in January of next year. They're already signing these people now. It's a good 9 to 12 months out. In fact, some of them even book the year after too, or put you on a waiting list if there's a high demand. So be prepared for that. This isn't going to be overnight. I do, again, always keep in touch with the meeting planner. Sometimes I'll come in late at the end of a deadline and go, well, just in case you have a cancellation, please keep me in mind for so-and-so, and I'll have a speaker proposal. Because sometimes it does happen.
It sounds like a good strategy, because what happens if somebody does cancel and then suddenly you happen to call with that intuitive guidance, that perfect timing, and boom, you get one of your speakers booked. So when you're putting yourself out there and you want to enter into this speakers marketplace, and I want to give everybody who's listening to this some really interesting information. I did some research about the personal development industry as a whole. And the personal development industry last year was $9.9 billion in the US alone, about $13 billion worldwide. And of that, I know it's just mind-boggling.
I'm like, I got to write this down.
And of that, it's 6% growth a year. I mean, it is just booming. It's growing so fast, and people it's personal development, self-help. It's been around for quite some time. The first book about self-help was written in the 1800s, and it was titled Self-Help. So this is, a 200-year-old industry. But of that industry, this is what's interesting. 1 billion of that revenue is motivational speakers. Okay, 1 billion. That's a huge lion's share. And here's what's even more exciting, I think, for everyone who's thinking about getting into motivational speaking. There's only about 5,000 plus speakers. That's it. That make up that $1 billion of income. So as compared to authors. So, U.S. Publishers Weekly just talked about U.S. authors who self-publish 1.2 million a year. Okay, so 5,000 motivational speakers, 1 million authors.
Right. Something's off here.
What do you want to build towards? Like, where do you want to put yourself out in the marketplace? And I'm here to tell you that, if you have a message, you want to make an impact on the planet, you want to transform the world, speaking is the gateway. And, you have to approach this as, you're building an online brand, you're building an online business, you're building this persona, and it doesn't just stop and start with your desire. Okay.
Right.
You have to actually get some tools in place. So when you go to a meeting planner, they want to look at your speakers to evaluate, what do they look for? I mean, what are they evaluating to decide who they're going to book, Karie?
Well, they do a lot of behind the scenes before they even call me, before they even contact me. So, for example, I'll propose so-and-so and send their press kit along with a little copy to their sizzle reel. And then 90% of what's going to happen is they're not going to take my word for it. They're going to go Google the person's name. Google yourself, stalk yourself, what comes up. If your messaging isn't consistent, that's going to be a red flag to them, and they're probably not going to call me back. If your absolutely. LinkedIn says one thing, but your Facebook says another, and your Instagram says this, and nothing matches, they're not going to call me back. Now, what's even worse is if they don't find anything. It's just crickets out there. You barely show up. And forgive me, if your name's Mary Smith, you might have that challenge. I kept my Mary name because it's so rare and different. It helped with Google searches. But in all honesty, let's be real here. If nobody or nothing comes up, or you have a YouTube channel and only 2 videos posted, you look kind of like you're just starting out. Maybe you aren't worth that $10,000 fee that I'm pitching you for. So you've got to write Google's story. You've got to put your stuff out there. You've got to create the content, or someone else is going to write it for you, and it might not be positive. Well,
that is a big part of it too. Like, that's a whole other webinar.
Yes, it is.
On reputation management.
Yes.
I think that, here's the way I always say this to my clients that I work with. Listen, you're a transformational thought leader. So we need a place to really read your thoughts. Like, what is your wisdom, and show us. And the answer can't just be go buy my book, because if all we do is go buy the book, it's probably not going to happen. So, if you have this goal of entering personal development, and I encourage you to do it because there's lots of revenue there. I know it for myself. I know that you know it as well. You see it for your own business. You see it for your clients. We're both female entrepreneurs. We live from home. We live and work at home. And, we have a lot of freedom. We have the laptop lifestyle. And, like tomorrow I'm leaving in the morning. I'm headed out to Sedona. I'm speaking at an event. There's 60 people in the room and, 150 people online, and I'm really excited about that. And I know that will be, revenue generating for my business. But the speaking is the key to that. Yes. It's the key to bringing in new clients and bringing in revenue so that you can have a sustainable business and maybe even leave that corporate job. That it's kind of an irony here, right? So you work in a corporate job, you want freedom from it. You want to be unique, independent, share your message. And the answer is to become a corporate speaker.
And I'm going to put you right back in that environment.
Right. But you get to fly in, stay in the hotel, give your talk, and then get out of there. And I think that, I kind of love on every level the irony of that.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me. I'm like, I never thought I'd be back here playing with these guys again. But hey,
Right.
here I
It's
am.
awesome. And I think another thing too, nothing against the guys, but for the women, there's a lot of opportunities. I mean,
Yes.
what I'm hearing, and I'd love for you to give me insight on this, is that they want more women speakers.
Yes.
They want women that are strong and passionate and dynamic and inspiring. So, what do all of us girls have to do to get on these stages?
Well, I kind of am a little partial. I have more females that I represent than men. I wasn't going to represent men at all. Please don't send me hate mail. But when I chose to work in my business, I work in women empowerment, and I wanted to empower as many women as possible. And it's very saturated. You know this, Kristen. The speaking world is saturated already with a lot of men, and that's why a lot of them will say, "Can we get some females in here?" Karie, who else do you have? And in all honesty, yes, I brought in some beautiful, wonderful men, very in touch, very soulful speakers. And, just for flavor and obviously to fill the stage with as many speakers as I can through one connection. That's the working smarter policy. So in all honesty, it's true, even with older speakers, and I don't want to say older as in age, but someone that's already saturated the stages, they've already booked them 4 or 5 times. They want some new, fresh blood. I've got 3 under 30 in my speaking agency. So we're speaking to millennials. They want fresh faces. They want people that get that generation. You can't just keep pulling from the same inventory, so to speak. So I love variety, and I embrace women empowerment wholeheartedly.
I'm going to refer back to this personal development study. And if you want to find this, you can read it online. Just check out Personal Development Statistics 2017. But I love this report because it said that, millennials are just this fastest growing marketplace, especially for all of us who are in personal development. But a lot of people, it doesn't occur to them to market to millennials.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that millennials do want to be mentored. They want to be guided, and I think that so when you're in your 20s and 30s, you want to step up and step into your power, but you also want some wisdom so that you can do it, efficiently, so you can have some insider secrets to take some shortcuts. And so, I think that when you are speaking to especially a corporate culture, you have that wonderful variety of audience. There's all different kinds of people who work in that organization, and they will come up to you even if you're not selling from the stage. I mean, there is that whole speaker's model, where you're using NLP and you're, doing the cascade and you're referring to your course and you're selling from the stage. And I've done it myself. It has been very lucrative. I had a talk once I did from a stage. I did, $138,000. I mean, I was excited about that. That was really thrilling for me, but that's not what we're talking about here. I think that there's this whole other way to have a keynote and to open doors and to really connect with people without having to make that offer directly from the stage. And some of these speakers, that you're working with and who are out there in the corporate world, again, they're part of that $1 billion of annual revenue. And so it can be very, very rewarding, expansive, and lucrative.
Absolutely. And most millennials want to learn from other millennials. I have a daughter that's 14. Her biggest aspiring people are actors that are her age, that are showing her what's possible for her life. So they're not always going to listen to the older generations, so it's good to get those fresh faces out there. That's actually what they're asking for, is the people they're following on Instagram already or saw on a reality TV. I've got a few of those type of speakers as well. So it's fun. It mixes things up. I'm hoping to bring lots of fresh faces to the speaking world and change things up a little bit, more women. That's what I really want to see.
So talk to us a little bit about the difference between, you're an agent, and a lot of people have their selves listed with a speaker's bureau. So what's the big difference there?
Well, I'm good friends with 3 speaking bureaus here in Las Vegas. It's a great place to be. It's convention capital. I mean, why wouldn't I have an agency here? It's kind of interesting that I only really promote one speaker here, which is interesting. Most of them are in California and all over the world. But the beautiful part is I think of very much like a publicist would do, or even a virtual assistant, if you want to hire your own person to promote you, because it always looks better coming from a third party than you promoting yourself. I'm actively sending your information, your bio, your sizzle reel out to multiple people daily. And I never kind of bother my speakers until we've got something hot. So they're already behind the scenes doing this for you. Even if they don't hire you, they've just watched your content. They just followed you on social media. They're looking at you on LinkedIn. You've got eyeballs on your stuff. So we're actively doing that. A speaking bureau is actually hoping and praying someone kind of lands on the website. You're kind of like a catalog on a website. Let's spin through these speakers, which is super overwhelming for a meeting planner. Again, I come to them and go, how can I make your life better? How can I make your event a success? Let me give you 2 people after the research I've done on your particular talk and your event. I think these 2 are going to be ideal for your audience. And now the overwhelm's gone. I have 2 to look at that Karie sent, not a page of 40, per page on the website. They're just faces. I've been in their shoes. It's extremely overwhelming. So that's what we do.
I love that too, because, we all need an advocate working for us. We all need someone to refer us. It's just the positioning is so much more powerful when someone refers you and said, hey, this person is awesome and you are going to love them. And I know also one of the things that's really wonderful about you and why we decided to do this call together. We actually met at my event in Las Vegas and, had this instant, sisterhood connection. Is that you have such a huge depth of not just experience, but connections, right? So when you call your friends and your colleagues who happen to be meeting planners and you say, hey, I found somebody for you, they're going to listen, know? And I think that, so it's really important, if you can, to make sure that you have the elements in place, that you've done your own personal work, that you have polished yourself, and you have a really crisp, nice looking professional speaker's website, that you have like that sizzling hot sizzle reel, that, you have what you need so that an agent like you would say, yes, I will take you on, and then the rest becomes history. Right? Because once you get booked on one stage, you get booked on another stage, you get booked on another stage. And, it's one of those things that just grows exponentially. But like everything, the barrier to entry is often up to you. Right? It's up to you. It's like, how bad do you want it? I think a lot of people who are in this industry, personal development, and I don't mean anything by this, but you're kind of hobbyist. You think you want it. You kind of read your books.
Sounds like a good idea.
And I kind of write my book a little bit. I've been working on it for 10 years. Like you're just, you're not serious about it.
Right.
And I think when you flip the switch and you say, I'm going to get serious about my business and I'm going to, master visibility. I'm going to make sure that I'm out there and that I'm visible. I am going to have automation. I'm going to make sure that I have an automated funnel and that I'm, operating and building my relationships through my email marketing. I'm going to have offers. I'm going to have my talk already prepared so that when the opportunity presents itself, we're ready to go. Okay, just like say, hey, great, here's my stuff. I ran into this with my TV show that I created myself called The Ripple Effect. This is the first show I created. It's kind of a fun story. I ended up going back into the newsroom where I was last a morning anchor. So this was an ABC TV studio. And the reason I'm talking about this is, media and speaking go hand in hand. So you need to do TV appearances in the morning show and then go speak at night. So if you're in town speaking in Dallas, you want to tell the TV station you're in Dallas, they'll have you on. I mean, you'll get on both places. And, I went into this station and they were no longer doing the news and my general manager was still there. He's like, well, do you want to use the newsroom? And I was like, well, of course I want to use the newsroom. But, now I was back as an entrepreneur. So, we went in there, we created our whole own show. We aired it, to 20 million households. But the great thing about it is that somebody came along and said, hey, we need some programming for a brand new transformational network we're doing on Amazon Prime. And I need content in 30 days. And I was like, great, I have 7 episodes. Let me upload them in the next 30 minutes. And so, this is the type of magic that can be created when you actually are ready. You're prepared. You have it in position, to hit the go button at any time. And I think when you get to that level of commitment towards yourself, but really more commitment towards your message, then the door is open.
Right. Absolutely. Being prepared and then opening that door is everything. You will resist everything anyway if you don't feel like you have your stuff together. And there's opportunity just flying by you right and left. You'll shrink into yourself to play small, but having your stuff ready is like, hello. And I have to give some inside secret here. I'm not excited to promote anyone that doesn't have great marketing. I look kind of like I'm hoping for the best and putting it out there. I want great quality content. I was so excited. We were doing some video. My video editor is doing about 3 reels for me now, doing some fun editing. And when someone comes to me with good footage, I'm like, yay, let's do this. It's so much fun. I'm like, got some good stuff to work with here. Versus here's my iPhone footage that my friend took, but couldn't, decide which way to go. And and you've seen it all: bad lighting, bad sound. There's background noise. It's just, we'll try our best. It's just frustrating for me. So great marketing is going to make me more motivated to promote you if you're one of my clients. So it's a win-win.
I think too, Karie, is that, for what people who are watching this need to understand is that a speaker's agent in a lot of ways is not that different than a literary agent. Okay. Right. So, you're still an agent. You're representing somebody that has high quality work and trying to expand that work, that voice. And, I know because so many of my friends and colleagues are publishers, and then I also work with a lot of authors who are publishing books. Today, publishers, they're not even going to consider your manuscript if you don't have 10,000 likes on Facebook, if you're not posting on a regular basis, if you don't have a community that you're marketing to. Now, you may not need a giant email list to be a speaker, and that's something that I think is really exciting for people because when you're just getting out there and getting started, you can have your articles, you can have your books written, you can be posting, but if you don't have, a big email list, motivational speaking is a way to still break in and go build that community. There's all this new technology too, where you can actually grab all the emails of the audience, that's there. So imagine doing a talk and getting 1,000 emails, in 18 minutes.
Yeah, there's ways to text. Just tell the audience, type this in, like, yes, boom, you get my free gift.
Yeah.
Life is
so,
good.
Here's your check, and here's 100 emails.
Exactly.
Like we all need to do business that way. Like we're all, doing Facebook ads to, get these emails. But I'm telling you, I'm so excited about speaking. I think that, not only is there opportunity and this industry is wide open, but if you do these simple steps to getting ready, it can take a while. Like we said, a lot of these corporate planners book a year out, but this is your year to get polished. So if you say this time next year, I'm going to be on these stages and I'm going to take the steps I need right now to make this happen. I'm a futurist. So I'm like, what thing in the future can I set my sights on and bring into my reality? It's totally possible. So if somebody was feeling that way, what would you recommend that they do right now, at this time and space so that, in 12 months from now, they're living the reality of a successful motivational speaker? Let's just go through,
step 1,
step 2, step 3. Do it if you're really serious. Yeah.
Absolutely. First step is to get quality photographs of yourself. If you're going to be seen online, we need good high resolution. None of these selfies with Instagram filters is going to do it. We need quality footage. If we can see you talking on stage as a picture, immediately, a picture's worth 1,000 words, immediately tells us that person speaks. I've seen a lot of my speakers change their profile picture to them on stage, because it does send a message. Your social media needs to be top notch. You need to say, I'm a speaker, literally right in that first heading on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where all meeting planners scout. In fact, they'll ask me for links to your LinkedIn. So have that up and ready to go. And again, Google yourself, see what shows up, fix and tweak things, make sure links are working. If you have a website, even more SEO, in your benefit, where Google pages showing up. Be consistent with your messaging. But again, it's all about the graphics, and the social media is huge and it's free, guys. Social media is free. Use it, please.
Well, I love that you mentioned LinkedIn, because I think so many of us forget about LinkedIn. We forget how important it is. But, in the corporate world, LinkedIn is that space. That's
Many of them don't have Facebook at all. Almost.
People connect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, making sure that that LinkedIn profile is built out and that you have all of that. So I guess, Kerry, we can all do this. We can all make a media page. We can update our LinkedIn. I mean, we could do that in like the next 24 hours. Okay. If we were
Exactly.
super motivated, we could do a lifestyle photo shoot. We could
Yes.
build out our, LinkedIn pages and start putting some blogs out on our website. But, what about the video? How important is the video for people to break into speaking?
Yeah, when a person works with me and I help them with their marketing, I can't take the pictures and I can't take the video. You've got to come to me with that already in place. And I know what a crapshoot it is when you but I'm going to speak, Karie, next month, and I'm hoping to get footage. And then their footage tends to be the friend on the iPhone, or something along that line, and they're shaking and I can hear the person next to them whispering. So it doesn't work well. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's lots of interesting footage I've looked at. So I say don't risk that. Then, say that time comes and, and I've been there, guys. I've had tons of crappy footage in my portfolio, my Dropbox. Great feedback. Thanks. I should pause and talk slower. But meanwhile, that footage is no use. The dark lighting, maybe there's a door behind you with too much light. Somebody's eating, they hear clanking of dishes. I've had it all happen to me. So I say don't risk it. You need to invest in this because the return on investment is ridiculous. I have a speaker that books herself on average 100 times a year. Do the math. If you're thinking 5 to 15,000 is kind of the range that they're paying at the moment for, these are just up and coming people, not even celebrity speakers.
Right.
So do the math. Is this worth it? You'd go get a certification tomorrow if you knew you were going to get a promotion at your job. So why not invest in yourself? I can't do anything with you otherwise. And you're going to have a hard time booking yourself as well without that proof to back up your message.
Yeah, I really understand this so much because it's the same thing, in TV news, you can't get booked as an anchor or reporter if you don't have footage, of you reporting. If you don't have that reel, that's what gets you the job. That's what gets you the interview. You don't even get in person in front of these people until they look at your footage, so video, that's the thing that opens all these doors. And so I want to take a moment and tell everyone here who's on the call about something incredible that I've created with my camera crew out in Las Vegas. It's called Rock the Stage Las Vegas, and that's really what it is all about. It's about getting up there as a motivational speaker on your own terms with your own topic, and killing it. And I have, just an amazing crew. It's a 3-camera crew. So really in land of video production for motivational speaking, 3 cameras is unheard of. If you're at somebody's live event, they're lucky to have 1, and it's probably, John Brown's, Sony camera from his home
way
collection.
In the back of the room.
Way in the back.
This big.
Yeah, there's no microphone. It's just not usable. Yeah. It's funny because I was talking to one of our colleagues earlier today. I was doing a live call with her. She said, I had 5 talks and they were all incredible. And I couldn't use the footage from any of them. And I mean, I hear this story over and over and over again. And, because of my background in TV news, because of my background as a documentary filmmaker, and creating my own program on Amazon Prime, I'm like, I got this. I can, do this for you. Just like you could show up and do this talk with your eyes closed. I can produce this for you with my eyes closed. Of course, they wouldn't be closed because I want to see what you're doing every minute of that time that you're on stage. But, again, these are 3 cameras capturing you on stage in Las Vegas before a live audience. And the link is right here. I'm going to have the link available and you can go and look at the page and see what this is all about. It's called Rock the Stage Las Vegas. And the details are pretty specific. You get 3 cameras. They are going to cover you from one side of the stage, from the back of the stage. And then there's another guy who has this backpack camera. You were there, Kerry. And, they travel around behind you, shooting back at the stage, shooting to the side. I mean, there is not an angle about your onstage performance that is not captured.
Right.
And there is not an angle of your audience's reaction to what you're talking about that is not captured. So,
Right.
lots of variety, lots of footage. Again, it's 4K and even 6K. So it's all set up for the new technology. This is not grainy, pixelated,
Right.
icky video. This is like the best, with a professional sound guide. And then in addition to that, we also do for you an interview, because a lot of times, when you're putting together your speaker video, your sizzle reel, it's not just the talk. It's, like we said, it's the lifestyle, it's your philosophy, it's what you stand for, it's your morning show appearances, it's all those different things. So, if you're wanting this tool for professional development, investing in yourself so that you can join this billion-dollar industry, this is the key. And one thing I will say that I know about this, because I researched it before I decided to do it, there's not many people that do what I do.
No, you're just a gem. Like I said, you're this solution to my challenges, and how cool is it that she comes to my city to do it? I mean, it's just a win-win. The stuff that I saw when I came and saw Kristen and her team and her crew doing this for, wonderful speakers. Kristen takes that extra step. This is how meticulous she is, that she can get quality footage. I remember one of the camera guys kind of moved the back curtain, and Kristen, bless her heart, goes, sleeks back there, straightens the curtain, God forbid it show up in the footage of the girl, and then slowly slinks off again. That's how much she wanted to make sure, her clients get the best of the best. And she just goes above and beyond. I was in awe. I was only going to pop in for an hour, and I stayed the whole time because I didn't want to leave. She just does such a great job. So I was even part of the audience that day. It was kind of fun.
Thanks, Karie. I really appreciate it. And for me personally, it's always like, what's your why? Why do you do this? And for me, I've been a messenger my entire life. Okay, I worked in TV news, and even before that, I worked on Capitol Hill. I was a constituent correspondent. So I used to write letters for an Arizona congressman. I've had a podcast on a program called Vivid Life Radio. We had about 85,000 subscribers to my podcast, have my own shows, my own documentary films. So, I've been a messenger my entire life. So for me now, it's all about, that shift, that legacy. How can I make you a more powerful messenger? How can I help you transform the world? Because what I see today is just this explosion of even more of the negativity that I saw when I was in the news. It's just 24/7. And, if we don't step up, if we don't share our voice, if we don't add to the conversation in significant and positive and loving ways so that we can, encourage compassion and end suffering, what's going to happen to our world? I've got 3 children myself. The oldest one is 20, and, my youngest one is 14, same age as yours. And then I have a stepdaughter who's, 24. And I want the world to be a better place. I want people to, be inspired and feel hope and understand that there is more good out there than bad, but yet in the media and what's visible is a tremendous amount of noise. And, in spiritual practice and in spiritual principles, there's this whole universal law of substitution. And it goes something like this. And I just want to share it real quick. So in this universal law, we cannot deny the existence of something and make it go away. So we can't just say, oh, these bad things don't exist and they're going to go away. And, it doesn't work that way. We actually need to substitute something of a higher frequency, of a higher vibration with more positive energy. So even if it's the smallest amount, so let's say it's 90% low vibration or negative or hateful or judgmental or, whatever. But 10% is loving and expansive and positive. That takes over. It's amazing. It's just how the law works. So each one of us is this light. Each one of us has this hope in our soul. That's why you want to talk. It's like, it comes from, if you're a speaker, right?
Yes,
like it's in there. It's like, there. It. And so if you're called to do that, yes, you have to overcome the journey of fear. I'm afraid, public speaking is like, what is it, like the greatest
I
fear?
thought it was the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I get to do that for a living, scare the crap out of people.
I get to be scared the crap out of every day. And, and then you have to overcome what's next. You and I write about this in my book, Voice. Well, I call it the fraud factor. It's like, well, who am I to stand up there? Who am
Yes.
I to be the
Yes.
expert for this
Yep.
topic? So then we got to overcome our fear and then our fraud factor. And then we
Yes.
got to get clear on our message. Well, what's our niche? What's our hook?
Yep.
Or, in TV or whatever, what's our pitch? But then once we get through that little journey, the world opens up and there's
It
not
does.
really that much competition. I mean, once you get into your flow, you and I are both very unique. We have our own unique businesses. I don't meet many people who do what I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to meet them. I'd love to have, colleagues and friends. And when I do meet them, I'm like, hey, let's play together. Let's go do something fun. How can we collaborate? Who can I send you? Who can you send me? It's
Right.
To me, that's what it's all about. It's all about building community. But, once you get into that fingerprint expertise is what I call it, there's not very much competition. You
Right.
just kind of put it out there and people are naturally going to be attracted to you. And then all the doors open up. But you got to take those core steps to position yourself so that you can actually grow. You
Right.
got to make that decision that this is the direction I want to go in. I mean, when you decided to start your agency, do you remember, the date and time you made the decision? Was it instantly or was it over a period of time? What prompted you?
I felt like I was walking with a blindfold on, but because the universe kept handing me one piece at a time, I kept stepping forward for the next piece, the next piece, the next piece, and just listening to my own intuition. Again, I wanted to find somebody like me 3 years ago. So I created the solution. Sometimes you have to step in and say, I can't find this. This would be great for someone that's just needs someone to kind of be the launch pad to their speaking career. If we could just find this person. Why not you, Karie? Why not you? You've got these connections, all these speakers. Why don't you get to be the bridge? And it's just a win-win. It really is. I'm still figuring it out as I go, by all means, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been very rewarding. And again, it goes back to your book. I didn't know you had a book called The Ripple Effect, because I talk about that all the time. I get to create it. I don't have to always be the one getting on a plane, but I get to help you get your message out there and, again, change lives for the better. I'm all with you about saturate the world with as much light as you can to overcome that darkness.
Oh, God, it's just so crazy. And I think you really hit the nail on the head with something. And just so you know, I have a TV show called Ripple Effect and a book called Voice. I know with us entrepreneurs, it's so hard to keep it all straight. But, I think that a lot of times our best business intuition comes from filling a need. It's like we got the seeker and then we have the solution, And so this is kind of how I came up with, honestly, my idea for Rock the Stage Las Vegas. It's like, gosh, I had all these clients and they're like, we want to break into speaking. We want to break into media. And I said, okay, great. I have access to an ABC TV studio. Come down to my TV studio. I'll interview you. And then why don't you just stick around? I'll get a live audience and get on my stage. The cameras are there. The cameras are always there. I always have cameras around. I don't know what that's all about. But, just come on down and let's just make it happen. Like, let's make it happen right now. Can you get here in a couple weeks? And I think that, when we pay attention to where there's a need and then where we have our expertise, there may be that little golden nugget of a business opportunity, whether it's then creating your own unique speakers agency. I know, you're extremely well known now. You've been wildly successful. There's tons of people who are applying every single day.
Yes.
It's amazing. We just kind of sometimes click into that place. So, I encourage everyone who is watching this webinar, we're giving a lot of great content today about, what does it take to get booked? Some of it is just paying attention to where you can show up in the world, that magical mixture of your life experience, your wisdom, your inspirations, what gets you excited and terrified at the same time. It's always like there's a little bit of fear around doing what we really want to do, because it requires a leap of faith. Okay, so you have to take a leap of faith. You have to, say, I trust you, self. Yes. I'm going to be able to get there. And I think that when we have that trust in ourselves and that belief. It may not come back to us right away. You know, I've been doing my business now just over 10 years. And, you know, at the beginning, I didn't know how it was going to work out. You know, I was
Nope.
like signing up for some different programs, speaking on some people's stages. Like, you know, some of the first things I put out there, I laugh about it now because I was like, what was I
I
thinking?
know.
What was that
I know.
brand? You know, you know, and I think that it's been fun just to see the evolution of,
Yes.
you know, we start here and then we add this next thing, and we add this next thing, and then we become, so many of us women are like this. You know, we're so multi-dimensional.
Yes.
You know, we're like smart and intuitive and empowered and, you know, innovative, and we have things to contribute. But I think what's missing with women is we don't always use our voice. You know, we
Yes.
have all this stuff, it's kind of inside, but we don't actually use our voice, you know, and that's why I wrote my book, Voice, How to Share Your Message,
I
Your
love that.
Products, and Your Business with the World. Because, you know, it's interesting, it's kind of a personal story, but, you know, my great grandmother, something happened to her. Nobody really knows. I think that she was probably assaulted. And back in the day, they just locked people up in the asylum.
Mm.
You know, she stopped talking because the
Oh,
unspeakable
yep.
happened to her. And so then she spent the last 20 years of her life locked up in an asylum because she couldn't speak about what happened to her, you know, and that for
Mm.
me is, you know, why I went into TV news. I always used to talk about being a voice for the voiceless and, you know,
Yep.
representing people. And, you know, even now, this thing about speaking, it's like, I want to help you speak your truth. You know, so if you've had a traumatic experience in your life, maybe you're dealing with a health crisis, maybe you have epilepsy, you know, maybe you
Right.
have something going on, maybe you lost a limb, or, you know, there's so many things that motivate
Yes.
people. I'm going to help you tell your story. I want you to share your voice, because that's the beauty that we have available to us today. And I will tell you, especially for women, you don't have to look back through history very far to see that this has not always existed.
It hasn't. It's scary, you know, raising a young lady these
Mhm.
days and talking about women marches and things of that nature. And I'm like, well, let's do some math here. Oh, wow. We really haven't, you know, had that kind of permission, even permission to vote or anything like not recent, you know, it's in the last 50 to 100 years, so much has changed. But in the last 10 to 20, even so much has changed, just women in the workplace being seen and so on. But I'm with you all the way on that. It's that permission to speak up, permission. Everyone's got a story inside of them. There's something you've overcome. We can turn that into a talk. You don't have to do this by yourself. You know, I consult people. Kristen knows people that consult. Kristen consults with her, you know, packages as well. You don't have to try to figure this out all by yourself. Let somebody that sees it all day help you tune that niche and find their spot
And I
on the
think you can
stage.
totally find your life purpose inside your story, right?
Yes,
Like, you know, now is the time. It's so ripe. You know, the people who are brave enough to step up and do it and position themselves, you know, and invest in themselves, you are going to rise up and be a leader, because there's not that many people who are actually willing to do it. You know, I think,
sure.
again, I'm talking to the girls, you know, we stand back, we watch one another, we're not quite sure, we're not quite
Yeah.
ready, maybe we need to lose some weight, you know, maybe we look too old or too young, you know. And I have to tell you personally, I'm having all those journeys, you know, and I've had all
Me
those
too.
journeys. And
I'm
you
still
know,
getting ready to get ready.
I'm getting ready to get ready. And you know, and it's interesting, you know, because but I have to tell you, at one point you just say to yourself, it's just now, it's
Yeah.
now.
You'll figure it out as you go. Just
When you
step
embrace the
forward.
now, all the energy shifts, the
Yes.
paradigm shifts. You know, it's almost like, I think you make this appointment with the universe, and the universe says, we've been patiently waiting for you. You know,
It's about time. Where you been, girl?
where have you been? So, you know, Karie has a wonderful business. You can certainly tell them, you know, your website. I'll make sure I post it under this Facebook Live, but go ahead and tell them your website.
The best place to really contact me is my personal website, KarieMillspaugh.com. I do have 5starkeynotespeakers.com where I list my speakers as well, but the application and the way to really connect is through my personal website. We can see that I actually consult people that aren't quite ready for the agency as well. So we'll get you there. Again, I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, I'm not there yet. You know, they kind of see my checklist on my website and go, that's not me. Good news, we can get you there. You know,
I can
people
get
like
you
Kristen.
there, right.
Kristen's going to help you with that checklist.
Right.
Is the biggest piece I don't have. I don't have this opportunity. It's in my own backyard, but I'm so grateful to have connected with her because she is that missing piece that so many of my speakers need.
And we work together pretty closely. You know, we're going to work
Yes.
together. So you're going to help the people who want to get on the stage in Las Vegas. You know, I have some dates coming up in the near future. Most of them fill up pretty quickly. So you'll want to go ahead, grab that date, and then when we need to, we open up some more. But we do provide an incredible live audience, state-of-the-art cameras, training support. I mean, that's just who I am as a businesswoman. I know that's who you are as well. And, you know, our commitment is to get more of you out there in the world sharing, you know, what's in your heart and in your soul. So, you know, you can visit my link, find out what the dates are. And, you know, if you're called to it, if nothing else, let's get on the phone, you know, have a discovery call and just see where we might go with this. But I know that if you feel even the smallest little buzz, you know, I call it the chills of confirmation, you know, that little, that little inkling that you could be a speaker. Oh, it could open up such incredible doors for you. So, you know, just again, you can check out my link. It's Rock the Stage, Las Vegas, and lots of support for you. And we're going to make it happen for you. I mean, that's one of the things that's so true about me is, you know, I show up like 150%. It's like, how do we make it really shine? You know, because I want things to happen for you that you dream about. So everybody, thank you so much for being here on our Facebook Live and our Zoom webinar. Karie, I so appreciate your time. I know you had a super busy schedule and you agreed to be here last night, and then I drug you back in today for a live encore. We had hundreds of people register for this webinar. I had a couple little crazy moments with my technology, but you know, about that, you just gotta, you know, hit the restart button and go again. But to all of you who have been watching this Facebook Live, and you know, if you're part of my community, which I know that you are, thank you. Thank you so much for being part of my community. I really do love you and want to connect with you and help you find your voice. You know, once you find it, you'll probably never shut up, but you know, it's needed. We need it. We need it now more than anything. And
we need more leaders.
We need more leaders and positive leaders.
Yes.
So there's a whole industry out there with, you know, 13 billion reasons for you to step into your leadership. So let us help you get there. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye for now. And we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Bye.